Good morning, America. Behind the quiet streets of Moreno Valley lies a dark secret. A hidden home, a hideout linked to the father accused of murdering his own 7-month-old baby, Emmanuel Haro. Investigators searched there, and what they uncovered has raised chilling questions. Why would Jake Haro lead police miles away when this very house, tied to child abuse and secrecy, may hold the real answers? Friends, family, this is more than a courtroom drama. This is a fight for truth, for justice, and for the voice of a baby who never got to walk, never got to speak, never even saw his first birthday. When authorities first questioned Jake Haro, he insisted that his baby's body could be found in a distant location, leading them away to a valley, far from the real scene. But now, new evidence points back to Moreno Valley, to a second house tied to the Haro family. This was no ordinary house. Records already show child abuse incidents tied to this property, a place of secrecy, a place of pain, and perhaps a place where baby Emmanuel's final cries were silenced. Think about it. If a father truly knew where his child was, why mislead investigators? Why guide them to an empty spot while leaving behind a home filled with unanswered questions? Could it be a distraction, a desperate attempt to buy time, or even to protect the allies he had helping him cover up his crime? And let's not forget, the mother refused to take the polygraph test, refused to speak truth when her baby's life depended on it. Friends, that silence speaks louder than words. Yesterday, baby Emmanuel's parents stood before the court for the very first time. The charges against them are as dark as they come: murder, child abuse, conspiracy. Yet, in a move that has many shocked and heartbroken, the court granted them bail, and it should never be ignored. But friends, the fight doesn't end here. The next hearing has already been scheduled, Thursday, September 4th. That means we have just days to keep Emmanuel's name on the lips of everyone across this nation. Days to make sure his story is not forgotten, drowned out, or swept aside by the next headline. Until that courtroom opens again, it is on us to carry Emmanuel's voice. Remember, he never had the chance to celebrate a first birthday, never took his first steps, never spoke his first word. His voice was stolen. That is why we must raise ours loud. If baby Emmanuel's father truly wanted to lead authorities to his son, why didn't he take them directly to that house on Sunday? Instead, he pointed them to a location in the valley, close to it, but not the house itself. Why? Was that a tactic to buy time? Was he trying to distract investigators while his allies, yes, the same allies we now know he had, moved or covered evidence inside that home? Authorities have not yet confirmed every detail publicly, but we know this: child abuse happened inside that house. Emmanuel was gone in the very first hours of his disappearance. The timeline makes it impossible to ignore. The Moreno Valley home could very well have been the place where his young life was taken. And what about the mother? She refused to take a polygraph test. If she had nothing to hide, why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she want to clear her name? The silence speaks volumes. It tells us that this was not the act of one parent alone, but a cover-up, a joint betrayal of their own flesh and blood. Friends, let's be clear. This is no ordinary investigation. We are looking at patterns of violence, secrecy, and lies. And when you add in the fact that the father was supposed to be getting treatment for abusive behavior, yet still went as far as to kill his child, it reveals just how deeply wicked this act was. Moreno Valley is not just a location on a map. It is a symbol now, a house of horrors where innocence was stolen, where Emmanuel's short life may have ended, and where truth is still waiting to be fully uncovered. But friends, family, there is something else that shook the courtroom. Court records and media reports do not even agree on one basic fact: bail. Some outlets, including the Associated Press, report that Jake and Rebecca Haro were granted bail at $1 million each, yet other major sources, like ABC News, insist that they remain held with no bail at all. And so we are left with more questions than answers. Why such confusion? Why such silence? What is certain is that both parents will be back in court on September 4th. Until then, we must not rest. We must keep Emmanuel's name alive. A 7-month-old who never had his first birthday, who never took his first steps, whose future was stolen before it could begin. His parents may stand in that courtroom, but Emmanuel's voice depends on us. So I say this: subscribe not just as a click, but as a stand. Each subscription is a voice, a presence, a refusal to let Emmanuel's memory be buried under confusion or delay. Friends, this is no longer just about a case file in a courtroom. This is about a baby whose cry was silenced too soon, and about a system that risks letting his memory fade if we do not speak. We cannot let Emmanuel Haro's story be reduced to a headline. We cannot allow confusion about bail, shifting statements, or silence from those who should protect him to drown out the truth. Until September 4th, when his parents stand before the judge again, we must be his voice. We must raise the noise that Emmanuel himself never had the chance to make. So I ask you, stand with me. Subscribe, not as a click, but as a voice of justice. Share this with others, because when we are silent, injustice grows louder. Together, we speak for Emmanuel Haro. Together, we demand justice.